So we cut that. So there you go. My name is Maggie's DIY and the channel is Maggie's DIY World. In this video, we'll show you how to make this shaggy rug. You can call it a fluffy rug if you like. And we are going to use a cloth, piece of fabric, or an old t-shirt. So don't mind this. I will seal this later. I will cover this later. But for now, I left it like this so that I show you how this works. So you're going to need your thread. So I'm going to use pink and gray threads. You're going to need, of course, your fabric, old t-shirt, any piece of cloth you have. You're going to need sewing thread. So I will have two sewing threads, a black and a white one. The black one will be basically to show you how those stitches are, because I will be using this bright colored fabric. So you need to see the contrast when I'm making the rug. And then I will need a sewing needle like this one. So cut your fabric, piece of cloth or t-shirt to the size that you want. I forgot to mention that you will need your scissors, and you might need a marker pen if you are going to make different shapes. For instance, I had this, so I had the gray and then I had the pink. So if you're going to use different shapes, different colors, you need your marker pen to draw the pattern and the shape you want on your fabric. So first things first, this is how you make your rug. This is your DIY rug. So I will cut my fabric. For now, I'm cutting a very small piece because it's for demonstration purposes. So I have my fabric or a piece of cloth or an old t-shirt. So if you're making for commercial purposes, you need to get a strong fabric and you need to get a very big one. So this is what I have. And then because I am making this exact shape and color, I'm going to take my marker pen, and then so this is where I will fill with the pink. So let me show you. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, it's very thick and very fluffy. So I will fill this with pink and this with gray. So you do not need to cut any thread now. So if you are going to start with the pink, so as I said, I'm going to start using the black yarn so that you can see how those stitches go. But if you're making this for yourself, make sure you use a color that is as close to your thread color as possible, or as close to the fabric as possible. So basically, because I have used white, even if you tried to fluff this, you cannot see it. But if I had used black, chances are you might see the black thread. So for the demonstration purposes, I will sew with the black yarn. So I have my pink thread here. So basically what I do, instead of using a single strand, I always make use of double strands. Sometimes I will even use 4 strands to make sure that I don't need to keep repeating the process over and over again. Because if I was using a single strand like this, then as you can see, we'll need to fill so many of these. But if I am using 4 strands, then it will be so much easier. See, that already fills it. So I have my sewing needle and my sewing thread. So I will thread my sewing needle. So here is a tip. Don't cut a very long thread. If you cut a very long thread, it is going to keep tangling and it's going to be stressful for you. So cut just a few centimeters, 10 to 15 or even 20. So I have threaded it. I have tied the knot. So tying the thread looks like that. So I have my thread. So what I am going to do, so let me show you a trick with threads. So if you have something like this, you can only unwind a single strand. You can either fold this severally, or alternatively, since you already have this one loose end, you see your thread usually comes with these small holes here and on this other side. So if you like, you can just insert, since you don't know where the other end is, it's somewhere inside here. So you just insert your fingers, 2 fingers like this one, fill around, and this other side, insert your fingers like this, and then fill around, and then pull. So you see, as you pull this, I already found my other end from this end. So what happens is that I have this thread that is coming from inside. Let me undo this knot. So I have this end. So this one is going to be unwinding from inside, as you can see. Don't mind about these small knots, they can easily come off. See? And then you have the end that was this one. So to make your work easier, you can just be using these two ends simultaneously so that you have a double strand. So now I have a double strand like this one. So if I want to use this double strand for my mat, then I'll just fold like this. And then, so I'm going to show you how I sew this. And then I will continue with this. So for demonstration purposes, allow me to use this because this is a bit visible than pink. Pink is reflecting the light that is coming from my bulbs. So I will use this for demonstration purposes. So I will use 4 strands. Currently I have 2, but since you don't, so we are making this rug at the corner. So for demonstration purposes, allow me to use this. For demonstration purposes, allow me to use this because it is much visible against my light. As you can see, pink is reflecting color and it's not so visible. And I am using black because you can see its contrast against this and against my fabric or cloth on which we are making our rug. So with this rug, you can see we have the outer side, which is this, and this is where I'm going to be using this. So all you need to do is get your 4 strands of thread like this, and then measure a few centimeters or an inch depending on how thick. So as you can see, my rug is quite fluffy because I used long strands of thread. So I will do the same with this one. So just fold this one like that. So right now I will not be cutting anything. If you like, you can cut. So for me, I will not cut. So I will just fold like this. So this is where I need to make a knot, but not. So this is where I am going to tie to this fabric. So insert your needle like that, pull it. So because of the knot, it's not going to come loose. Then I'm going to insert this from the underside like that. So as you can see, that's going to be like that. So to make it easier, so say I have not cut or tied anything. So I'm just going to hold this. So I'm going to hold this and insert here. And then pull. So as you can see, that is already in place. So as you can see, that is already in place. But because I want it to be tight and not come loose, I'm going to repeat this. So I'm going to insert my needle on this side, in the first hole, this one. I'm going to insert my needle in the first hole, this one. So here it is. And then I'm going to pull. So it's going to look like that. And then I'm going to loop this on top of the shaggy rug threads like this, and then insert into the second hole like that. So that is quite tight and it will not come out. It will not come off. So if you like, you can already cut this, but for now I will not cut it. So here is the trick. On this side, instead, if you like, you can already tie a knot here. So you can make a knot on your sewing thread and cut it, or say I had not cut mine because it would have been too much work. So what I do, I just move on to the next hole. So a few centimeters from where I was, I will insert my needle here to this other side like this. So as I had said, assuming we had cut this, so we need to make another loop. So I am repeating this slowly so that you see what happens, and then I will show you how to go on without cutting this first. So I have my needle. I am going to insert through all those, and then I'm going to insert this here and pull so that it is tight, and then I'm going to insert through this first hole like that. So here it is. So if I stretch this like that and then insert into this hole like that, and then I'm going to pull this. So as you can see, this looks like this, and it is much easier than when you are using a single strand, because as you can see now we have very many loose ends, but if we were using a single strand we would be having only 2. So for this one, allow me to cut this because I want to show you the other way. So we cut that. So there you go. If this is too long, you can shorten them. So for now, allow me to tie. So if you have finished, just make a knot here and cut. So I cut that. So this is what is going to compare like this. So I am going to start from this end and show you how not to cut this. So maybe I start with this part where I will have put gray, and I will still use my gray without cutting. So I am going to use my 4 strands. I will get 2 fingers in. You pull the loose end here or on this side. So I have found my loose end that unwinds from inside. It's this one, and then there's this one that is going to unwind from the top. So I will hold 2 strands. I don't want to work with the 2 strands because it's going to be too much work. So I'm going to work with 4 strands as I did with this. So I will just fold this. Cut only a few meters. Cut only a few centimeters, like 10 or 15. And then you cut this. So this I will put aside. So I have this. So let me show you. So this is the only one I cut for now. And this we are going to insert here. So for this one, I will fold using the same tactic I used with this one. So I will use the same tactic I used with this one. So fold this. So fold this like that. And then you have a sewing, you have your needle and sewing thread. I'm still using black because you can actually see. If I was using white, it will not be so visible. So see, black is more visible than white. But in the end, you will need to cover this. I will show you how to cover this when I'm done. So I will knot this end. So I will start from here. No, I will start from here. So instead of going under, like I did with the first one, I'm going to insert this from here, like this, and then, so there it is, and then like that. So that's how it looks like. So I'm going to pull this like this, and then pull this, so that the knot is on the upside. Don't worry about this. Then I'm going to insert my sewing needle into my loop of 4 threads. So this is the loop. I will insert from the underside, it's much easier, and then pull this through. So as you can see, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing I did here. Insert here. Let me bring it a bit closer. So I'm going to insert here and then out there, like that. And then I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull this. So closely look. So as you can see, it has already held that in place. So if you want, you can repeat the same. So this thread is here. I will insert here and then pull to hold that first in place like that. So there it is. On this other side, you don't need to do anything except, so from here, determine the direction you want to go. If you're going this way, your needle needs to go that way. So just a few centimeters, insert your needle like this, so that it is here. So now here is the trick. So these ones you need to hold them like this. So assuming I place my scissors like that. So you have done the first loop. So before you cut, so just make sure that you, the same distance we had measured here, hold like this. But in this case, do not cut. Just make sure that that is where you hold, and then you hold it like this, so that you have the same distance. So this one you're going to let go, and then this is where you are going to stitch here. So like this. So let me bring it closer. So if it is on the left, you can bring it over this one, so that you have this, let it loose. But if you do this, so if you pull that, you see, you have healed it. And then pass this over like this. like that, and then again. Like that. So that is tied, as you can see. So that's how that looks. So this is how that looks like. Now all you need to do is take your scissors and cut ta-da. So you repeat this process until you're done. So we still have some loose ones here. So if the last bit is longer than the rest, if you like, you can just size them like that. Like these ones that are long, you trim them. So in the end, so this is the sample I was showing you with, and what we were making is this. So this is what's going to fill this here, and then this would fill here and here to replace this pink. So basically that's how you make a DIY rug, a shaggy rug or a fluffy rug, whatever you call it, using a piece of cloth or fabric or old t-shirts, a needle, scissors, and threads. Please watch Maggie's DIY rugs. It's the playlist I have put in this channel. It has all sorts of shaggy rugs and how to make them, like this one. So this is when you mix colors and then you're making this shaggy rug on a fabric like this one or cloth. And then you will see also the video on how to make such a fluffy rug while also using fabric. And then there is how to make this fluffy one, this fluffy rug. It looks like the one I had made on sack, except that I made this using a cloth or fabric. So I will show you how to make this also. Also, there is a video on how to make a shaggy rug using the mat mesh, different types of mat meshes, and also how to use a crochet. Like if you do not have the fabric and you do not have the sack material and you do not have the mat mesh, then you can use just your thread alone. And in that case, some of the tools you might need. So some of the tools you might need when you want to make your DIY rug could be the normal crochet, especially if you're not using any of the mat mesh or sack or fabric. You will need to use only this crochet, or you can use this latch. Yeah, sorry, I got colored from my pen. So you can use this latch crochet. This is when you have a mat mesh like this one, and then you might need sewing needle and sewing thread when you're using fabric or cloth or t-shirt to make your shaggy rug. So watch this playlist if you want to see how you can make your fluffy rug, your mat, your DIY rug, whatever you call it. So watch this playlist to see how you can make whatever you want. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and comment. If you're facing any challenges, please leave a comment. If your rug came out nicely, please show us and leave a comment in the comment section. We can actually put some of those comments on Facebook, on my Facebook page and Facebook group, or Instagram or Twitter called Maggie's DIY World. So if you cannot attach an image on YouTube on the comment section, just join Facebook, my Facebook group, Maggie's DIY World, also Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. They go by the same name, Maggie's DIY World. So you can post there your comments or your images and encourage each other.